On everyone, it's Alex back here with the weather. We have had some pretty gusty conditions for today. We've seen a lot of gusts reaching to the 30 to 35 mile per hour range. Nothing too crazy. The Euro did overhype the wind a little bit, but also we did have a very intense squall line kind of not it was kind of a squall line, but it didn't have any like thunder or lightning characteristics to it. We did get a very heavy line in the morning. I will show you that in just a minute. Yeah, this was the line that impacted us this morning. You can see those reds and even some pinks passing over us. That produced some very gusty winds for a time. I checked outside today and I noticed that the wire from our lighting, you know how we have those lamps that were hanging around when it gets dark, it lights up. Look at these very impressive velocities. Look at them. They were pretty impressive, I'm not gonna lie. So we did get some pretty interesting wind out of that. And I noticed like, oh, what the heck? Why is this wire like hanging all the way down? That wind was strong enough to literally topple a whole entire planter, topple chairs, and it literally managed to swing the chime so hard that the wire completely popped out of the hooks, and I saw a huge wire just hanging down from the roof. Very impressive stuff, but no lightning whatsoever. So, pretty disappointing because we were kind of waiting. So, whatever. But anyways, we're past this system, and we're gonna see some pretty unstable conditions this week, especially as we get into later Tuesday into Wednesday. We may have isolated showers and potentially a thunderstorm or two, since how unstable it is, and we're just gonna see this kind of gusty flow again. I'm going to zoom into the European here. That line for Massachusetts was not that bad. It had heavy rain, but it was not severe at all. No lightning, no thunder, no nothing. And what the Euro is pretty interesting with, it actually does develop some kind of convection Tuesday night, and this may be some showers and thunderstorms trying to develop, and this could be pretty interesting Wednesday. So this is the type of setup where you have a, kind of gusty flow going across the Northeast. And this is a type of flow where you could have some very cold air aloft. And with some of these showers, you could actually mix down some grapple, some small hail, and some very gusty winds. That is possible if that convection and that cold air aloft really starts, tackling through the atmosphere. They could produce some grapple. We'll see how that shapes out, but that's pretty much it from this. Then that moves out, and you're left with a pretty cold look for Thursday night into Friday morning. It looks pretty cold. And what you gotta notice is that there's another big low pressure starting to rack up steam. Not this one from central U.S. That one might have a short thunderstorm threat, but we're watching this one from the northwestern U.S. 995 crashing into the western part of the U.S. And this is gonna be the storm where we have to watch this out. And all the models, even the GFS, even the Euro, even every single model we've been looking at, it shows a major cyclone, mid-latitude cyclone, affecting the central and eastern U.S. with heavy clobbered amounts of precipitation, and we could be seeing some very gusty winds. We're talking about damaging winds again, and we could be talking about a severe weather outbreak. It is on the table where we may have a severe weather outbreak getting into early November and the end of October. We're going to have to watch that very, very closely, because there is that real chance where you could have severe weather returning, and it could be bad. So we're just gonna have to see, So pressure tightens and whatever. You see that low, starting to rack up some steam near Kansas. 997. Look at that. and it really starts to develop some crazy stuff. Very tight isobars ahead of this, and look at that powerful squall line just sweeps through. Look at that massive squall line. I mean, this is just some very gusty winds. This just tells you how much wind energy we have in this system and how much thunderstorm energy we can have with this. So this could be a serious damaging wind threat. We need to watch this even for the eastern U.S. This is really just racking up steam. Look at those isobars. I mean, this is just insanity. And then I want you to notice that this front literally just stalls across the eastern U.S. for the whole entire 2 days, delivering heavy showers and thunderstorms. And look at this. You got a tropical cyclone. Not only you got a massive cold front, you got a tropical cyclone. That is very interesting on the European. And now you have to question, is this upper low gonna push and pull this cyclone right into the Mid-Atlantic or the Jersey coastline? That is a real threatening scenario possibility. And I will tell you, there could be runs where it does show that. Where if the interaction does happen, it could deliver catastrophic impacts. And either way, if we don't get that, look at that massive squall line just sweeping up through the Mid-Atlantic. Look how tight those isobars are. Look at this. Just an absolute beast of a squall line. Just absolutely ravaging the Mid-Atlantic, going into New Jersey. Look at this. This is just really just impressive. This looks like another negatively tilted monster. Not only that, you could have severe weather with this. And it just rampages throughout the whole entire state. Goes up into the northeast and weakens, and then we even got that low to enhance that wind. So it is going to be extremely windy, I fear. It is going to be extremely windy. And now you have to say, okay, we're going to deal with the big storm next week. I mean, the week of Halloween, we're going to be dealing with the big storm. But now we have to wonder, what is a tropical storm gonna do? Or even a hurricane, what is that thing gonna do? Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, we need to watch this out very carefully, okay? 500 millibar height anomaly, we'll show you all. You have that little bit of a trough pulling down for Friday into Saturday, and then notice that big boulder from the western U.S. That's the big one. That is a big one right there. And this is going to be the biggest upper low, that we had probably all year. And this could be kind of insane. This is just, you just have ridging all across the system. And then in the central U.S., you just have the big blob of blue. Watch this. Now, if this tropical storm or hurricane gets any closer, what this would actually do is it would pull this thing literally right up the eastern seaboard. And I'm telling you, this could be a threatening scenario. And it absolutely could happen. If this upper level low stalls over the central U.S., where it shows Arkansas, Missouri, and Tennessee, yes, it has that position. Now, is this thing gonna stall? That is the question. And if that stalls, what that does is it creates a push and pull effect where you start getting some retrograded around the storm. And what that tropical storm would do if it stalled like that upper low in the central U.S., it actually go up and then straight into the Mid-Atlantic coastline if it did stall. So I'm telling you, it's going to be real active the week of Halloween. We already have an extremely high chance of excessive rainfall. We already have the chance for damaging winds, a slight risk for the whole entire northern part of the U.S. Just absolutely nuts. The amount of wind energy we're going to be talking about with this thing, absolute crazy. So, again, key points to take away. We need to watch damaging wind and that Halloween storm, but also that freaking hurricane and tropical storm. I'm going to tell you, there's going to be at least 1 or 2 models that are going to try to do this, and they're going to try to pull it right into the mid-Atlantic coastline. And then you have to realize that this could be a real threat and possibility for the mid-Atlantic. If you think the hurricane season was quiet, it may not be any longer. So we just got to see what the heck is this storm going to try to do. All right. Now, we're going to take a look here at some of the impacts. And the impacts are also very important. If we were to see the European situation, okay, we did get some pretty gusty winds today. Not 40 miles per hour, no way. But, okay, we're going to get into later Wednesday. You see some fairly okay winds, 30 mile per hour range, maybe. That's like the high end, I'm saying. Thursday, gusty winds probably. That starts to calm down, and that's fine, Okay, let's take a whole entire look at the central. Look at the U.S. by this time. There's just so much wind energy we are talking about this thing. So much wind energy. I mean, this is incredible amount of wind in that cyclone right there. Holy crap. I mean, we're talking about damaging winds for the whole entire central U.S. right there. Oh my God. Wednesday just keeps on deepening. And then Thursday just keeps on dipping south. And then watch the eastern U.S. Watch the eastern U.S. and watch that hurricane right here. Apparently a hurricane. Okay. This is for Thursday. Thursday night. Friday morning. Friday. Look at these gusty winds ramping up across the eastern U.S. And this is kind of concerning here. Even if you weren't going to get a tropical storm or hurricane, this onshore flow of easterly winds, 40 to 50 miles per hour throughout the states, this will be an extremely dangerous problem, and these winds just keep on strengthening because the low pressure gains some crazy strength. And by the time we get into Saturday morning on the 1st, we are talking 50, 55, 60 plus mile per hour wind gusts all across New Jersey, the Delmarva, New York City, and then this is just going to keep on going up towards the north, maybe impacting Connecticut, and then weakens once it gets to Boston. But holy crap, we're going to have to watch this very closely. The wind impact from this is going to be significant. I'm telling you right now, these winds are not to mess with. And taking a look at the line that we mentioned earlier, look how powerful this thing is. Just wow. This thing is really just putting on the show there. So there is going to be Cape. There's going to be wind energy. There's going to be thunderstorms probably. This is going to be a huge system we're going to be talking about for next week. And this is going to be a big part of our forecast. So have a great rest of your night, guys. We'll keep you updated. Don't be surprised if you see model runs pulling in this hurricane into the mid-Atlantic. It's absolutely possible. It is absolutely possible. So if you have the right mechanics, anything could happen. And a disaster could happen. So you never know. So that's why it's important to stay updated. Never trust clickbait. And yeah. All right, guys. I'll see you guys later. And have a great rest of your night.